Prosper Log, show date 140823. How's everybody doing this weekend? I'm doing alright. Had me a long week, but hey, it's finally over. And finally able to do this, finally able to bring this here show to you. This week's unofficial sponsor of the week is Cat Sky. She's a big Star Trek fan like myself. She recently did a science officer photo shoot from the JJ-verse. So check her out, hit her up on Facebook, Cat Sky. I will include a link in this post. Like I said, it's been a long week. I'm ready to get this show on the road. Beverage of choice, go with Shock Top Belgian White. 5.2% ABV. This is a good one. I have the proper consumption equipment. Opening device. Consumption device. Let's do this. Proper way to do it, 45 degrees. Alrighty then. Ooh, that stuff looks good. Looks really good. Cheers to all y'all, or as they would say in the Klingon Empire, kaplach! Alright, good stuff. Let's get it going, shall we? Got to start out like we usually do. Start out with the birthdays. First birthday up from this week, Mike Kirk. Now, Mike, yeah, Kirk, you caught it. Yep, you caught it. Just like the captain, K-I-R-K, Kirk. Mike, how you doing, buddy? Mike is a Star Trek nut like me. Mike, happy birthday to you. I hope you're enjoying a cold one, just like I am. All right. Oh, save him for later. Becca Jack from the 20th. Happy birthday to you there, dear. I knew her in Germany. Now, Becca is going to go places. I've seen some of the stuff that she's done, that she's been involved in. She's going to go places. Becca, wish you the best of luck and the prosperous salute to you. All right. From the 21st, we have Pistol Marie of Pistol's Place. Now, Pistol's a bartender from Washington, and she has her own YouTube show she does called Pistol's Place. Basically, what she does is she shares drink recipes with everybody. I need to check that out and get some ideas from her. Pistol, I haven't seen you showing anything in a while. Come on, I know you're busy. Let's make it happen, shall we? Excuse me. Happy birthday and cheers. All right, next on the list from today, actually, Shiela Najea. How you doing there, dear? Now, I knew Shiela in Germany also. She orders medical supplies. Shiela, happy birthday. Good hanging out with you in Germany. Cheers. And last but not least, the last birthday. I knew this guy in Germany. We attended a class together that's supposed to turn us into more professionals in our job. I don't know about you, but I don't think it worked too well. I'm talking about my friend Tom Knuckles. Now, Tom is a big Star Trek nut, kind of like me. Not as big as me, but he's a Star Trek nut. Hey, Tom, gotta call you out on this one. Where's my ice bucket challenge? I challenged you over a week and a half ago. I still haven't seen anything yet. Come on, Tom. You owe me one. But hey, on the occasion of your birthday on the 18th, I drink to you. Now, where's my ice bucket challenge? Jackass. Alright. I called him out for not delivering the ice bucket challenge yet. So I'm gonna honor two people that have completed the ice bucket challenge. Grant Lane and Matt Becker. Grant is a guy I know here. He's responsible for loading airplanes before flight. And Matt Becker is a guy I knew in England. Matt is very inspirational. He's actually about to retire from his current job. These guys answered the call. and they completed the Ice Bucket Challenge. What that is, excuse me, the Ice Bucket Challenge is designed to perpetuate knowledge and awareness for ALS, or, in layman's terms, Lou Gehrig's disease. Grant, Matt, I give you two the Prosper Salute. Since there's two of you, one each. How's that? And I drink to the both of you. Good job. Way to go. Next on the list, got to give some love to you, Mae Mae. I was devastated to hear about what you're going through right now. I can't say that I know exactly how you're feeling or I know exactly what you're going through, but hey, it's like I told you the other day. If you need anything, I'm here for you. So Mae Mae, hang in there. I know it's going to be rough right now, but you'll make it. Trust me, you'll make it. I drink to you, my friend. All right, and last but not least, last week, the Geekie Awards. Yes, Geekie Awards, Geekie. The Geekie Awards were handed out, and I got to give some love to the web series Star Trek Continues. Basically, their first episode, think back to the last scene of Turnabout Intruder, the finale of the original Star Trek series. This cast of people, basically what they did was they started out their first episode with the last couple minutes of Turnabout Intruder. That last scene on the Enterprise. They started that out and they went right into their next episode. Well, Star Trek Continues won the Geekie Award for Best Web Series. I give you guys some love on that one. I give you a round of applause. I give you the Prosper Salute because you definitely deserve it. Like my friend Josh Baker would say, you made it like Smith Barney. You made it the old-fashioned way. You earned it. And I drink to you. Congratulations, Star Trek Continues. Wow, that was it for the shout-outs. We got through them quick. All right, we had some Star Trek birthdays this past week. 3 of them on August 19th. 3 of them on the same day. The first one, August 19th. Let me do some math real quick. That's 14. 1921. I'm talking about the man that made it all possible. Gene Roddenberry, the great bird of the galaxy. The man that had the vision. The man that did all this. Gene Roddenberry sadly passed away October 24th, 1991. If he were alive today, he would be 93 years old. Mr. Roddenberry, on behalf of Trekkies and Trekkers everywhere that love the originals, thank you so much for your vision, and thank you so much for your persistence with NBC. My hat and eyes are off to you, sir. I give you the Prosper Salute, and I drink to you. All right. Next birthdays. The next birthday, same day. She is 76 years old today. Diana Muldaur. She played Dr. Kate Pulaski on the next Generation for the second season. Now, a lot of people didn't like this character. A lot of people didn't like her character. They felt that, they felt that she was kind of trying to do something that didn't fit. I see where they were going with the idea at the time. I mean, don't get me wrong, she's a good actor. Not only did she play the chief medical officer of the Enterprise D for the second season of The Next Generation, she also played Dr. Ann Mulhall, I don't remember what she was off the top of my head. Should have done better research. I give myself one of these. And she also played Dr. Miranda Jones. She played Dr. Ann Mulhall in Return to Tomorrow. And she played Miranda Jones in Is There in Truth No Beauty? Man, excuse me. Whew. What is it with her playing doctors? You know? I mean, it must just fit. But Diana, happy birthday to you. I give you the Prosper Salute. The last birthday from August 19th. Number 1, you have the bridge. Yep, I'm talking about him. Jonathan Frakes, the man that made beards cool. Number one, I wish you a happy birthday. I give you the prosperous salute. And I drink to you. I also drink to Diana. Excuse me. Alright, last birthday from this week came from the 21st. That would be the lovely Kim Cattrall, who turned 58. Now, you're probably wondering, why am I throwing in someone who is not considered a main character? Well, she wasn't considered a main character, but in Star Trek VI, she was one of four who conspired to assassinate the Chancellor of the Klingon High Council. In essence, to prevent the Federation and the Klingons from making peace. In the late 23rd century. She played a good part, and I drink to you, Miss Cattrall. Happy birthday. Uh-oh. Empty as a brain cell as the average Sequest fan. Well, good thing I brought reinforcements. Red's Apple Ale. 5% ABV, alcohol content. Yeah, I know. ABV. So, here we go. Proper techniques. That one stunk. Now, a lot of you are probably thinking, why am I mixing an apple ale with a Belgian white? I'm not mixing it. I'm just being a lazy prick. I don't care. Hey, it's my show. I'll do what I want. Cheers to y'all. Or as they'd say in the Klingon Empire, Kaplach! Ooh, that's good. Ooh, that tastes just like apple juice. That's great. Let's get me some more of that. Alright. You know what time it is. Football picks. Here's my picks from the last season, from the last week of the preseason for this year. Atlanta at Jacksonville. Go with Atlanta. Going with Atlanta. Why? Jacksonville's in my conference. I can't go against the Colts, especially when it comes to the conference. Hell no. I will never, ever, ever root against the Colts. Never. I will die before I root against my Indianapolis Colts. A lot of you are probably wondering why I'm wearing a Broncos hat. I like Peyton Manning, too. I like the Manning brothers. The Manning brothers are good quarterbacks. My hat's off to them. I don't like the way Peyton left Indianapolis. I don't like the way Peyton and Indianapolis decided to go their separate ways. But hey, it worked out for Denver and it worked out for Indianapolis. That's all I gotta say. That's all I can say. Detroit at Buffalo. Gotta go with Detroit. I'm sorry. I'm not a big fan of Buffalo. I'm going with Detroit. Indianapolis at Cincinnati. Well, there's a no-brainer there. Excuse me. I can tell you right now, it's not Cincinnati. The Jets at the Eagles. I don't always root for the Jets, but when I do, they're playing the Patriots. So I'm going with Philadelphia. St. Louis at Miami. Bobby Carino is going to like this one. I'm rooting for Miami on this one. Kansas City at Green Bay. Kansas City put up a good fight last year. They put up a very good fight in the playoffs. I am going with Kansas City. Carolina at Pittsburgh. No, thank you. Not rooting for Pittsburgh. Got to go with Carolina. All right, now, the next one. Classic matchup. This team has won 2 Super Bowls against the other team. The last 2 in all their appearances the last 10 years. New England versus the Giants. Yep. Tom Brady, you might as well just stay on the bench. Go with the Giants. Some people that are simple-minded would point out the fact that Tom Brady has more Super Bowl rings than Eli Manning. But, hey, stats talk. Eli Manning's 2 for 2 when it comes to Super Bowls. Tom Brady, what? 3 for 6? Sorry. For all you Tom, Giselle won't let me go to the Pro Bowl. Brady fans, haha. I think Eli owns you guys. A drink to Eli Manning any day. All right, Washington at Tampa Bay. I'm going with Tampa Bay on this one. Baltimore at New Orleans. You know, this is one. This one's kind of rough. Baltimore. I'm sure they're a good team, but they're made up of petty thugs and criminals. New Orleans. I hate the fact that you guys beat us in the Super Bowl, but hey, if we had to lose to anybody that Super Bowl, I'm honestly glad it was you. You guys were due for a ring, and I think this was after the last hurricane that went through. So yeah. Excuse me. Go with New Orleans. Chicago at Cleveland. Oh. Only one answer for this. The Bears. Mad Dog Becker's going to like that one. I'm going with Chicago on this one. San Francisco at Houston. I'll be honest. The next two teams I'm rooting for in this lineup, I'm actually rooting for out of spite because they're in my conference. San Francisco at Houston and Minnesota at Tennessee. Yeah, root for San Francisco and Minnesota. Not root like I said. I'll never root against the Colts, and I will root against any team that it's a whole conference thing. You know, your team's in the conference. You want to see your team win the conference. If your team wins the conference, they go to the playoffs. But I don't need to tell football fans that. You all know that. Denver at Dallas. I'm not going to dignify that with a response. Arizona at San Diego. No, sorry. I'm not a big fan of San Diego. Not a big fan of Phillip Rivers. Well, I'm sure Phillip Rivers is a good quarterback, but I'm not a big fan of San Diego. Seattle at Oakland. I got to go with Seattle on this one, even though they did beat the Broncos in the Super Bowl. But the way the Broncos were playing, they deserved it. All right. That's it for the preseason. Now, it's time to move on to this week's Trek episode. This week's featured Star Trek episode. This one was called, What Are Little Girls Made Of? Basically, the Enterprise arrives in orbit of planet XO3 looking for Dr. Roger Corby, who has a personal connection with Nurse Chapel, as they were engaged to be married at one time. They arrive in orbit, and they find that it's basically an android factory. They're only able to produce one at a time from what we saw, but hey, who knows what else they could do. At the same time, I lost my train of thought on that one. Okay, so they arrive on the planet, they discover the androids. Dr. Corby makes an android of Captain Kirk, who he plans to have hijack the Enterprise. But in a message that Captain Kirk sent to Mr. Spock, derailed all their plans. And later it turns out that Dr. Corby himself is an android, and when Spock arrives on the planet asking about Corby, Kirk says that he was never here. Which leads to the Enterprise going on to their next mission. The first draft of this episode's script was completed 26 June 1966. The revised final draft was turned in 27 July. Woo, that's a good one. This is the only episode that prominently features Nurse Chapel. With good reason, too. This was the first episode to be repeated on NBC by 22 December 1966. The first Star Trek rerun. Hey, it was alright. Might as well rerun it with this one. The script of this episode was in such a bad shape that Gene Roddenberry had to make revisions simultaneously with the filming of the episode, and shooting had to wait until new pages arrived. Man, can you imagine only having minutes to learn lines for a scene? I don't know if I could do it. My hat's off. I give those guys a prosper salute. You know, they earned that one. James Gladstone, who directed the second pilot, Where No Man Has Gone Before, was hired to direct this episode because the production staff greatly praised his work. However, filming of this episode went 2 days over schedule, mostly due to the aforementioned script problems, resulting in 8 shooting days. Gladstone was never rehired. It wasn't his fault. If Roddenberry didn't have to rewrite the script on the fly, that wouldn't have happened. I don't know. James Gladstone, you did good work. You should have directed more. Bob Justman personally assembled the episode previews for the series, some of which had specially recorded narration by William Shatner, as this episode does. The previews have great value to Star Trek scholars, as they are the only film source remaining, other than the blooper reels and cutting film clips in the hands of fans, for alternate takes, cut scenes, and other lost details. Excuse me. Justman also selected the stills used for the end credits, and his sense of humor was often apparent in them. The image of the grotesque Baylock puppet was purposely put under Herb Solo's production credit during Season 2, for example. In the end credits for this episode, he pulls another silly joke, when Michael Strong's guest star credit appears alone on the screen. The still image is that of Ted Cassidy showing his strength by lifting William Shatner over his head. Ted Cassidy was a big dude. If you've seen the classic Addams Family, you'll know Ted Cassidy was a big dude. This is the episode from which the famous blooper reel clip originates, featuring Leonard Nimoy and his son Adam, who will later go on to direct 2 episodes of Star Trek: The Next Generation, with Vulcan ears on. The proof of this is a Nimoy spoken line, "Are you alright, Captain? You sound tired," which is spoken in this episode. I never knew that. There is also another blooper from this episode in the first season blooper reel. In it, the cast uses Corby's android machine dais, as a go-go dance platform. You can see Nichelle Nichols without her Uhura wig in this clip. She wore a wig? I thought Shatner was the only one that wore a wig on that show. Fascinating. Kirk's walk to the turbolift from his quarters is stock footage from The Man Trap. He does not have in his hand the command packet he had retrieved from his safe a moment before. I never noticed that. I'm going to have to go back and watch it now. The close-up insert shot of Corby's hand reaching for his phaser and pulling the trigger, killing both him and Andrea, was filmed in post-production on 13 September 1966. Frank Da Vinci served as Corby's hand double, while Janine Malone stood in for Andrea. That Reds is good stuff. While much of the score in this episode is stock music, small bits of new music were composed for it by Fred Steiner. Andrea's theme was reused in This Side of Paradise, as Layla Kalomi sought to explain the nature of the Omicron Ceti 3 spores to Spock, while the Ruck music signified danger in many future episodes. If I had a big dude like that coming after me, I'd want something scary. That sure did it. William Shatner kisses Sherry Jackson so hard that when they pull apart, you can later see that her lips are swollen a little, and that most of her lipstick is gone and all over his lips. In 1998, the Sci-Fi Channel aired all the original Star Trek series episodes in their complete, non-syndicated format, with edit interviews from some of the series stars, guest stars, and production people. It was called Star Trek Insights. Excuse me. Sherry Jackson said in her interview, "I must say, when he kissed me on screen, he really kissed me." I'm going to have to go back and watch this one again now that I'm seeing all this. In the same interview, Jackson said that William Shatner's chest had to be shaved for his nude scenes in the android machine. Really? This title comes from the children's nursery rhyme, "What Are Little Girls Made Of? Sugar and spice and everything nice." In one part of the episode, Christine asks Spock if he had ever been engaged. The truth about this will be revealed in Amok Time. Well, as far as Prosper is concerned, I already revealed that truth to you last week. Bud Albright had appeared previously in an uncredited part as the ill-fated crewman Barnhart in The Man Trap. Really? That's kind of a continuity error. DeForest Kelly, James Doohan, and George Takei do not appear in this episode, along with Errand of Mercy and The Menagerie Part 2. This is one of only 3 episodes after the pilots in which Kelly does not appear. 3 episodes after the pilots? That's it? That's not bad at all. In Robert Bloch's original script, a wealthy socialite named Margot hired the Enterprise to look for Dr. Corby, whom she greatly admired. In his script rewrites, Gene Roddenberry felt the role would be better filled by Corby's wife or fiancée, which would play well with the Doctor's alleged intimate relationship with Andrea and his emotional coldness. Finally, he wrote the part to feature Christine Chappell, who was previously featured in The Naked Time, and was played by Roddenberry's lover, Majel Barrett. I always pronounce it Barrett for some reason. The role of Matthews was played by stuntman Vince Dedrick. Decades later, his son, Vince Dedrick Jr., recalled to the senior Vince Dedrick, one of his most memorable scenes was when he got thrown into that bottomless cave as Matthews in What Are Little Girls Made Of? You heard his scream all the way down, "Ah!" as it got fainter and fainter and fainter. Very nice. I believe he was the first red shirt killed in the series. I believe he was the first red shirt killed, period. I think it's covered in here later. Alright. Brown and Andrea both use old-style laser pistols seen in the pilots and the Man Trap. In the still photograph of Corby on Spock's station screen, he is wearing one of the turtleneck shirts from Where No Man Has Gone Before. Thought that's what that was. The graphic of XO3 shown on Spock's screen is seen again in the USS Defiant sickbay in the Tholian Web. That's obviously the Constitution class Defiant, not the Defiant class Defiant. The same stock footage of ice fields used to represent the XO3 surface is reused and seen on one of the Tavacron discs Spock is watching in All Our Yesterdays. That's a hard one to get out too. To test the excuse me, I'm having a little difficulty here, folks. Bear with me. To test the effectiveness of Cassidy's Ruck costume and makeup, the producers arranged for Cassidy to receive a visiting clothes dealer while costumed as Ruck. Sure enough, the salesman, who thought he was calling on Gene Roddenberry, was so frightened at Cassidy's intimidating character, he was barely coherent even as he attempted to do his pitch. However, the salesman eventually recovered, and Roddenberry ended up purchasing some pants from him. I would too. I mean, it's only the right thing to do. Gene Roddenberry got it right that time. I mean, if you scared the crap out of me, yeah, I'd expect you to take the services I was providing. By contrast, Andrea's revealing costume never failed to get an enthusiastically appreciative response, whether it be stunning and noisy commentary into silence when the actress showed it off there, or when it was displayed at a sci-fi convention, and the model for it found herself being approached by a large number of men, including Harlan Ellison, trying to secure a date from her. This was probably the 24th World Science Fiction Convention held in Cleveland, Ohio in September 1966. Alan Asherman mentions the model in the Andrea dress when he describes the event in his book Star Trek Compendium. Excuse me. Star Trek premiered to the public on this convention, with Gene Roddenberry himself showing Where No Man Has Gone Before as a special presentation. Excuse me. Sherry Jackson appears to walk into the same room twice when she reports to Corby after phasering the Kirk android. It is possible, however, that she entered a connecting corridor after destroying the android, and her appearance in Corby's quarters afterward constitutes her arrival from that corridor. It's more than possible. You got to recycle that stuff. This episode marks the final appearance of the early black and white Phaser 2. It was replaced by more detailed blue, gray, and black models. A key point of the Saturday Night Live spoof of Star Trek conventions featuring William Shatner was the question from a fan about the combination of Kirk's safe. The combination is different in this episode than in This Side of Paradise, The Tholian Web, and Turnabout Intruder. Hey, apparently the captain liked to keep himself on his toes, you know? This episode marks the first red shirt deaths in the series, starting with Crewman Matthews. You got it right. All right, folks. Oh, excuse me. Like I said, it's been a long week. I'm glad I was able to get this out to you guys. Time to finish my beer. So yeah, thank you for bearing with me tonight. Appreciate it. And I hope you all enjoy the show. You know what time it is, right? Definitely time to finish the beer. Empty as a brain cells, the average Sequest fan. That's right. It's time to head on out, so take care. Have an awesome night or day. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. If you do, name it after me. Don't drink and drive because you might spill your drink. Or worse yet, you might kill yourself or somebody else. What's dumber than that is being a Sequest fan. And what's worse than that is root for little crybabies like Tom. Giselle won't let me go to the Pro Bowl. Brady. Men slapping women. Racism. Animal abuse. Fake friends. People who welch on bets. Or anyone who is a member of, supports, or defends the Westboro Baptist Church. Things like that are just plain stupid. I ain't got time for that nonsense. So, y'all have an awesome night or day. And, as always, live long and prosper.